What's up, Astro fam? The full moon is going to be in Virgo tomorrow, but to be honest, I am feeling it now. Along with all the Pisces, it's pretty intense. So I figured I would talk about Mars in Virgo. That seems pretty fitting. My best friend has this, so I'm somewhat familiar with it. And my Mars in Leo is at 29 degrees, so I feel like I know a lot of people don't believe in cusps or anything like that. I'm not really sure where I stand. I think that certainly the signs can bleed into one another, and it's sort of a spectrum, so I don't really think there's like hard cutoffs necessarily. So it's whatever you want. Astrologers have lots of different opinions, but anyway, I'll just get right into it. So Mars in Virgo. So this is someone that is very meticulous about the actions that they take. They're not exactly spontaneous, but they are adaptable, if that makes sense. They're not really going to be the one to like totally shift the paradigm, but if it happens to be shifting, they're totally on board with it. Though that being said, Virgo is a mutable sign, so they'll definitely have random moments where they just need to change the energy around, and have something be different for a particular reason. When I think of Mars and Virgo, I think of those birds of paradise that are trying to make their nest as perfect as possible, and they spend so much energy and time every day just to get their little art project exactly how they want it to be. So I feel like Mars and Virgo people, a lot of their energy and motivation comes from really kind of practical, detail-oriented, organization type things. You know, they could spend quite a lot of time just mapping out the schedule for their week, planning a recipe, especially at work, because Virgo tends to be the sign of work and service. This is someone that has a really good work ethic and a lot of drive and motivation to work and to put in the time and the effort. They would be very good managers, because they're able to see things in a different way and kind of have everyone be like a piece on a chessboard, and they can see what moves need to be made, and they can almost see into the future. While Virgo is a very grounded sign, and it's not like they are necessarily psychic or anything, but it's like they know that if piece 1 moves to square F, then piece 5 is going to move to square G, and then this and this and this. Like, they can see the domino effect in the present moment. So before they make a choice or a decision, they're usually pretty understanding of the consequences, or the results of the actions that they're taking. So this can be a really good advantage. If you have this Mars sign, you can kind of understand the power behind the actions that you take. And like I said, they tend to make more grounded and practical decisions. So if there isn't any kind of beneficial reason or professional reason to do something, they're going to find something else to do with their time, because they don't like to waste time. Like I said, they're very strict about their schedules and their routines, and it's really important for them in order to get the right kind of energy flow throughout the day and to get motivated and to wake up in the morning. So for sure, that's something to keep in mind. If you feel like you're not super grounded, go to this sign and look at your actions and try and see if you're making the right decisions. Because I'll mention it again, I'll probably mention it in every video. If you are experiencing depression or lethargy or a lack of energy of any kind, look to Mars in your chart, because that's going to indicate an imbalance, and your Mars probably isn't functioning the way that it should be. And if you experience it on the opposite direction, you might have too much energy, and that will manifest in anxiety or anger problems. But anyway, if you're feeling like if it's on the low side and you have Mars and Virgo, try to structure something. Try to like plan out a day for yourself of things that you know make you happy, of decisions that you know are healthy for you and good for you. And you just enjoy taking steps. You enjoy accomplishing goals, figuring out tasks, figuring out projects, figuring out puzzles. Mentally stimulating yourself is super, super important. And a lot of your actions are probably because you find the action or the thing that you're acting on to be incredibly interesting, or that it will teach you something. So that's something to keep in mind. And if it's overworked and you're trying to overanalyze everything and be really hypercritical of other people, you're going to find yourself pretty frustrated and stressed. And in those situations, you really need to serve, and you need to give, and you need to ground. And that will really balance you out a lot. In terms of anger, Mars and Virgo is very, very critical. They can be very, very judgmental of other people, and it's not necessarily, it doesn't have a negative intention. And that's the complexity that comes with Virgo, is that Virgo has an ability to see almost physically with their eyes all of the mistakes and flaws and imbalances and health problems that an individual has, and it presents almost immediately. And keying into that and kind of the broken or different pieces of other people is very Virgo quality. And in Mars, you tend to be aggressive about it in terms of pointing it out or being very vocal about it, being very blunt, just taking actions that you think could counter the other person's imbalances, trying to help, trying to fix people, trying to understand people. And it's very like obsessive almost. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You want people to recognize their flaws and work on them, because you do that in your own life. Mars and Virgo is a perfectionist, especially when it comes to what they're doing and their own energy. So if you are really hypercritical of yourself, you better believe you're going to do that to other people also. So it's just really important to kind of rein that in. Or like I said, you're going to have a lot of anger and frustration. And Virgo's intention really is to heal and to help and to serve. But if it's not doing it in the right way, then the gears are just kind of like off the track, and it can end up hurting people actually as a result. So I have Virgo in the 7th and Mars in my 6th. So I definitely understand what that feels like. And sometimes you really just got to let other people be themselves and make their own mistakes and make choices that could hurt themselves or others or the planet, and you have to let it go, because it's not your business. And Mars and Virgo, you probably struggle with control issues and just being able to make every single decision, even when in a group situation. And you're going to have to let go of that. You're going to have to be very humble. That's definitely a downside to this placement. In terms of like sex and everything, this isn't really one of the most sexually active signs, though I will say, in my experience with Virgo energy, and Virgo is a very difficult sign for me to figure out. They all are very different, and there's not a lot of similarities between them all. But from my experience, Virgos are either incredibly hypersexual or very, very pure and innocent and not interested in things like that. And the same person might flip between both of those extremes quite often. I don't really know what the reasoning is for this, and that's just my explanation. But if you have Mars in Virgo, you're gonna have that, that experience quite a lot, where you almost like having sex as a deviant action for you, and you like it because it's wrong. And I think that that is not necessarily healthy or productive. The typical archetype for Virgo is a virgin and someone that is very pure and serving and submissive and all of these things. And so I feel like when a Virgo tries to express themselves sexually, they've already block themselves and feel wrong for doing so. And if you are Virgo Mars, I just want to let you know that sex is totally fine and natural, and if it's consensual, go for it. Like, it's just another element. It's not that big of a deal. A lot of people don't really understand that maybe until they have it, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's just a way to relate to other people. It certainly can be a big deal in certain situations. It's hard for me to find out the words that I want to say right now. Mars in Virgo is very complicated sexually, but you tend to be attracted to people that maybe also have this quality, that can kind of be an upstanding person, someone that you want to introduce to your parents, someone that seems clean and very hygienic and respectful, that takes good care of their health and nutrition, someone that doesn't smoke and all this stuff. That can be a sort of concept that you are interested in. Or, like I said, you might be attracted to the opposite, someone that's just really kind of a mess, and someone that's kind of a bad kid and does all the wrong things, and you would be ashamed to bring them home. Like, that can really attract you too. I would say that everyone probably has a mixture of both of these about them. Some definitely, it's not always 50-50, so strike a balance in terms of your attractions. Otherwise, you're going to be very confused about what you want and what you need from another person, and it'll be hard for you to really stay focused in terms of all of that. I wish that I could describe that part of this placement a little bit better, but it is very complex and varies from every person. Obviously, every sign does, but like I said, Virgo in particular, there's something about it where I know so many Virgos and they're all so different. Not that everything isn't like that, but for example, like all the Cancers I know, they definitely have like 5 or 10 things that are totally the same. So maybe I'm personally still figuring out this energy. So if you have this, please elaborate on what I'm trying to say here. That would be super cool. I'm trying to understand it. If you know anyone, or you're kind of a partner of someone that has this, or a close friend, please share your experiences with me. I would love to read them. Yeah, you guys know what I do. You guys know my stuff. If you're interested in more of my work and what I do, and you have the finances to invest in me and get something in return, then please check out my website. I'm usually pretty good about responding to people and adapt to what it is that you need, whether it's astrology, life coaching, guidance, animal channeling. You know, I'm trying to be there for my audience, really. But I know that it's mostly about love, and so I will always provide work and service when I can, if I'm able to support myself. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be back with Mars and Libra, I think, soon. Oh man, this full moon. Whew. Peace, love.